checks like Nike. Let me give you a good night kiss.
This is one of the best notifications I received on my phone in a very long time. As of January 7th, 2019, I am officially a Timberwolves fan again. What's up YouTube, it's Check Like Nike back with another video from Steph's Corner. And as you can see, I'm in a much better mood for today's video, being that Tom Thibodeau has finally been fired. As you may know if you have seen any of my previous videos, I'm a pretty big Timberwolves fan and I have been for about 5 or 6 years now. And as you may also know, I'm an even bigger Zach LaVine fan, so as you can assume, I was not happy when Zach was traded from the Timberwolves. Even more so, I wasn't happy with who he was traded for, and that was for a one-year rental of an awfully selfish player by the name of Jimmy Butler. For the entire time that Butler was playing with the Wolves, I was very unhappy with the franchise, how they were playing, how Butler was reacting, and even how Tibbs was coaching the Bulls, or the Wolves, being that he wanted them to be so much like the Bulls he formerly coached. And although Derrick Rose is one of the most respectable players in the league, and personally, a favorite of mine, Jimmy Butler has now become one of the most least respectable players and is on the complete opposite end of the spectrum as Derrick Rose is. So for me, this new Timberwolves thing that he was trying to build up in Minnesota was a no-go for me since the start, and I have been awfully mad and I've hated Tibbs ever since the trade 2 seasons ago. And not only did I obviously adore Zach, but I loved Flip Saunders, who was the coach for the Timberwolves prior to Tom Thibodeau coming to them in 2016. Flip Saunders is one of my favorite coaches that I have encountered in all of my basketball watching through my lifetime. To me, I thought he was very smart and looked forward to the future of our franchise a lot. I mean, he drafted Zach in 2014, then even made a trade to get Wiggins on the team, which was also a very smart move, and in the following year at #1 pick, went with karl-Anthony Towns over Jahlil Okafor, even though he was, to many, a favorite for the #1 pick. I think Flip was really trying to build a young core for the Timberwolves to grow into, and by now they would have already been grown into that, being that Wiggins and Zach would be 5-year players, and this is Cat's senior year in the league. However, that never got to happen. Being that this young core is not being utilized how it was once planned to be, let's see what this means for the future of the Timberwolves now that Tom Thibodeau is out of the picture. The only thing that I'll say is a little messed up about this firing is the timing, being that it just came after a massive dub against the LA Lakers, and the game before that, we beat the Magic by about 20 points. So the timing is a little off, being that Tibbs, I guess, had something up his sleeve for these past 2 games. However, this was something that needed to be done a long time ago, so I don't feel bad about it. Today after the Laker game, the GM Scott Layden walked into Tibbs' office and fired him, along with our assistant coach, Andy Greer, who is a good friend of Tom Thibodeau. Although we don't know who yet is going to officially replace Tom Thibodeau, we have heard some things, rumors around, Chicago news, Minnesota news, that Fred Hoiberg, the former coach for the Bulls, who Tibbs once replaced a few years back, might come in out of retirement to coach the Minnesota Timberwolves. As for now, our temporary replacement is Flip Saunders' son, Ryan Saunders, and he will be coaching the Timberwolves for now. I personally don't care that Andy Greer and Tom Thibodeau are gone because our team definitely needed a change, and if we're not going to change the players, or we did change a lot of the players, we changed around a lot of the roster, and if that's not helping, then the problem is obviously in the front office and in our coaching system, so that needs to be the next change. Karl-Anthony Towns is one of the strongest young forces in the league, and the Timberwolves are also working with a solid roster, but somehow they are still coming up with disappointing losses. Since the trade away for Jimmy Butler to the 76ers, the record has only been 15-12, and even more disappointingly, before the trade, prior to it, 4 wins out of 13 games. So I was obviously happy with the Butler trade, even though Butler had to demand it 10 times, wouldn't show up to practice, and made an awfully huge deal about it to get his way, and Tibbs wouldn't let go of him on his own. I'm happy with the trade, even though I'd much rather have him never been traded to the Timberwolves in the first place, but whatever. That being said, that is another reason why I wanted Tom Thibodeau out of there. He was so caught up in recreating what he had in the early 2010s with Butler and D Rose and what he had with the Bulls franchise and all of his success there that he was blind to the talent directly in front of him. To me, he put all of his trust into Jimmy Butler, who was new to the Timberwolves, rather than riding with a very talented and the future of our franchise that, before Jimmy came into play, the future of our franchise was Karl and even Wiggins and even Zach for a long time, as they were Minnesota players. 2 of them were drafted to Minnesota, and even Andrew was basically drafted there, being that all he did was play Summer League for the Cavaliers before he got to, be a rookie for the Minnesota Timberwolves and even win Rookie of the Year. So we had 2 rookie years in a row. We had a 3 talented young core, one of which he wanted to trade away for Jimmy Butler. So to me, he was so blinded to the core in front of him and the young talent that he didn't even take advantage of it and put too much trust into Jimmy, who later on went to betray him. The only thing that I could possibly respect Tibbs for is maybe our playoff push for that one time, even though we got swept by the Rockets, and also for giving Derrick Rose a chance when no other team would.
Like I said, he was the only coach that believed in, like, no teams wasn't looking for me at all. I was basically out the league. Everybody didn't know I was going to play this way.
But following an awesome coach like Flip Saunders and even trading away my favorite player basically for, Robert Covington and Dario Saric, I'm not going to like this man. So of course I'm going to hold a bit of a grudge because who doesn't want their two favorite players on their favorite team? And like I said, not only was he stubborn and so stuck in his ways, but he put all of his trust into a player that betrayed the entire franchise and wasn't even polite about it. Jimmy Butler wanted nothing to do with the Timberwolves, and now he's doing the exact same thing to the 76ers. Karl Towns, Andrew Wiggins, and Zach LaVine were our very own, but for Tibbs, his trust was in a player that he drafted, Jimmy Butler, being that when he was with the Bulls, Jimmy was his rookie and someone that he helped grow. So I guess Tibbs just wanted to give all of his trust to that player instead of, who the fans were loyal to, Karl Towns, Wiggins, and whoever. Because of his lack of trust in Flip's decisions and what our franchise and what the fans wanted, he never really had my entire trust. And once he traded Zach, he completely lost it because I didn't think the trade was worth it. Bulls fans were saying, this is the worst trade ever, and a lot of Timberwolves fans were not too happy with it either, but I'm not going to lie, a lot of Timberwolves fans were, but I personally wasn't. So, if not everybody was happy with this, and the Bulls weren't appreciating Zach for what he was, who did this end up benefiting? Because here are the Timberwolves without Butler, and here are the Bulls fans unhappy with the player that is leading their franchise. And now people are happy with him, but that wasn't the case for a long time. Even now, some people are kind of doubting him and what he can do. Karl, I've always loved. I loved him in Kentucky with Booker. I love him as a rookie. I loved all his seasons. I think, he's one of the greatest players in the league. He was an all-star last season. As for Wiggins, I think he is next to go. Obviously, Wiggins is very talented, and I think there can be a place or a team for him to fit into well because of his talent, but I don't think it's being executed properly in Minnesota, so maybe a trade can help both our franchise and wherever Wiggins decides to go for his career. So maybe the next coach can bring something special out of Karl, or maybe even Wiggins if he doesn't end up getting traded. Although Tibbs was expecting to finish the season with Minnesota, so this probably came as a shock to him, I think that the franchise and the fans and a lot of people in the front office finally got fed up with his decisions as a coach and, his stubbornness and everything that has happened in the past 2 seasons, and they finally decided to trade him a little earlier than expected. But to me, I wanted him traded during the previous offseason, so whatever. I mean, I can understand that Tom Thibodeau is a pretty good coach because 6 out of the 7 seasons that he's been coaching the NBA, his team went to the playoffs, but that one time that they didn't was with the Timberwolves. And of course he got them out of like a 12-year drought, so I can't, complain that we didn't make the playoffs, but that wasn't the importance to me, because now here we are after getting one playoff push as an 11th seed in the Western Conference, and there's probably not going to be a playoff appearance for us this year. So hopefully things can be changed around after the All-Star break and maybe we can finally land a spot. But to me, it was never really worth it. Okay, so I can't exactly say much more about the future of the Timberwolves and what's in store for them for the remainder of the season because we don't know who the coach is going to be, and I have yet to see a game without Tibbs and how the season's going to go. And I would like to know what you guys think, so let me know what you agree with down below, what you disagreed with down below, and let me know what your overall thoughts about Tibbs as a coach for the Wolves are and what you think this means for the franchise. If you like this video, hit the like button down below and subscribe for more all things NBA. And thanks for watching. Nike out.
Nigga, get your ass checked like a fucking Nike.